Good morning, everyone. This is Mike Matsuno from the Man in Japan channel. I just wanted to check in with all of you. Good morning from Chiang Mai, Thailand. Today it's a little bit cloudy, so I might be a little bit dark until the sun probably comes out later. So I just have a small lamp here, so I hope you can see me. If anyone, oh, thank you. Japan Ham is on in the room. Thank you, Japan Ham. How's the audio and the video? Pretty much okay. The main thing is the audio, that you can hear me and that it's clear enough. I'm here in a guest house using an older computer, and so at times I'm not sure how the audio goes, and I'm using this kind of headset. So if you can let me know in the comments, how is the audio? And if it's working okay, that'd be great. So today's topic is a little bit different from what I normally do. Normally I talk about, well, before I was talking about Japan, life in Japan, some interesting things about Japan that I thought were interesting at least. And also about Thailand and what I do in Thailand and some of my observations comparing Japan and United States maybe at times, and also Thailand. But today I wanted to talk about a little bit about traveling abroad, just the general topic of traveling abroad. So today I'm going to focus on traveling abroad, but mainly outside of your home country. And I do believe that for those people who are curious, or maybe some people who are wondering, like, what would it be like, or just something different, or something life-changing, right? That I think traveling abroad is probably the most powerful experience that you can do, that offers you opportunities, if you decide to take them, that can open up doors that for a life that is really amazing, unbelievable, like things that can happen, and it also changes how you perceive things and how you look at the world. And I think that if everybody, I'm sure it's not possible, but if everyone had the ability, everyone in the world had the possibility of traveling or living or working or studying abroad, I think the world would be a lot more peaceful, just because people will have a lot more insight and empathy and things. So in today's talk, I'm going to talk about the benefits and some of the downside of traveling abroad and why people maybe don't travel abroad. So first, I want to say that not everyone should travel. You know, this is, oh, 1 second, everyone. Okay, there's always a delay in the comments. So, okay, hi, J Star, thanks for joining us. Japan Ham. Oh, Cheryl, thanks. Hi, Cheryl. Oh, hi, Daniel. Oh, from Mexico. Oh, Daniel from Mexico. Yeah, Daniel, was I on the ship for World Youth with you? Anyway, so great to have you all aboard. Glad the video's okay. So as I was saying before, not everyone wants to or should travel. So first, I want to make sure that everyone understands that. I'm not saying that everyone should travel the world. It's up to you, right? And if you don't really have any interest in traveling abroad or living abroad and are completely happy where you are, then this live stream probably is not for you. But of course, you're welcome to listen. But I just want you to know that in advance. But this live stream is for maybe someone who's curious or interested, or maybe someone who has not traveled abroad yet, or maybe someone who has done short business trips but not really seen so much, or maybe they've done a short tour. So this live stream might be helpful for those people who maybe still want to do a little bit more. So I'm not here today to tell people that everyone should travel abroad, but I'm here to speak to people who have not yet gone abroad maybe. Perhaps they never really thought about it, or they were never interested. Or some people whose home country, let's say the United States, those Americans, there's so much to see. You could see the deserts, to the Grand Canyon, to the tropical paradise of Hawaii, to and everything is in America. So a lot of people maybe don't have so much interest about traveling abroad. People say, why bother? We can just see it in the United States. But I still believe there are many who either don't know or have not been exposed to it, kind of like in a dormant state. And they do not know what they're missing because they never really gave it much thought. So today I want to address that a little bit. You could just be out of college, or you could be between jobs, or you could be retired. And as long as you have the financial means, you do have to have the financial means, you can still do options of travel, study, live, or work abroad. And I think that's what I really want to say too. Age does not matter. Look at me. Look how old I am. And I'm here in Thailand now, Chiang Mai, Thailand, studying Thai language at a Thai school, which I will go to class right after this live stream. And like people say, like, what are you doing? You're an old man. But I believe that the age doesn't matter as long as you're healthy enough and to get around and to physically and of course mentally get around, and that you are just you take common sense care about not doing really crazy and too stupid stuff. I mean, I do a little crazy stuff but not too stupid stuff, right? So in the end, and then there's other people that I talk to, especially in Hawaii, that when I say, why don't you folks travel abroad? You can always come back home. I always say, you can always come home, right? Home is always there. And a lot of them tell me, oh, Mike, I already know that I live in the best place in the world. And that's them saying it without traveling abroad. So my response to that is, that could be true, but I always say to them that you may live in the best place in the world, but you have to leave to find that out. And I really do believe that, because when you leave and you really find out, yeah, I love Hawaii or I love wherever you live, then great. You should feel that much happier that you validated that that's where you live. But you also may find out that, hey, Hawaii is great, but there are a lot of other neat places to see or live or to travel to or even to go out and live for a while. So that's the reason that I think that traveling abroad is really important. And another thing I do believe is that if you can travel abroad or study abroad or work abroad or live abroad, that you go to a country that you cannot speak the language. And the reason I say that is that I'm just going to make a distinction, because what happens at a lot in American universities is a lot of American students will travel to England, Australia, Ireland, or even Canada sometimes to do a so-called study abroad program, which it is a study abroad program. It is going to another country, and there's smaller cultural and linguistic differences, but the comfort level would be much higher, meaning that it would be much more comfortable because everyone speaks the same language. Basically, there are linguistic differences, but so it's a much, I don't want to say easier, but it's more user friendly, I guess is the word I want to say. And then there's also common sense. Reasons. Like, for example, a lot of the Americans want to graduate on time because it's so expensive to study in the United States. So they want to take credits in their major at a university. And if they go to a university like, let's say in Japan, where they don't offer their major in English, I mean higher level classes in English, then they have to take a year longer to graduate. So there is a common sense logical reason that they do that. But what I want to talk about is, if you want the experience of really opening your mind and just having, I don't want to say deeper, but kind of more richer, cultural richer experiences, I suggest that you try and travel abroad or live or work or study abroad in a country that you don't speak the language. Like for me here, I'm here in Thailand now and I don't speak the language. And it humbles you, right? Starting from zero, it humbles you. And you feel frustrated at times, you feel vulnerable, you feel like you might be getting scammed, all of those things. But those feelings, I think, are very important to go through. So I do suggest that if you can, to go to a country that you don't speak the language. And then that whole struggle and that whole working through things and that whole learning simple greetings and numbers and that whole thing of getting maybe sometimes scammed or sometimes taken advantage of, all of that is part of the experience that actually helps people, I think, grow and learn and become more of a critical thinker. I mean, if you take in the United States, for example, I'm going to give the United States, for example, I heard that only 21% of Americans have a passport. So that kind of tells you that the majority, whether they cannot because of finances or they do not want to, don't travel. And if those who do, a lot of them go to Mexico or Canada, which is close and in some ways more familiar to the United States. But the number of Americans has actually decreased in the last about 18 years. The number has actually decreased. So that tells you that this message is for many Americans who have the financial means and are maybe have never heard about traveling or want to or are curious but have never taken the step. And and there is a good reason why a lot of Americans don't travel. As I said before, there's so much to see. Also, people are worried about a pandemic. They worry about terrorism. They're feeling like, why leave the United States? And there is something that I don't want to sound critical. I'm American also, but there's a kind of cultural ignorance or cultural naiveness that people don't really know too much about outside the United States, because the center of the world always seems to be the United States, right? The richest country in the world, the most developed country in the world, the most powerful country in the world, that people don't look down because you're on the top. I think Rod Laver said, the tennis player said, you're the most vulnerable when you're on top. And I think there's some logic to that, even in this case, that when you're on top, you don't look down or you don't look around. And so I think that there is some cultural naiveness within the United States. And the more that, although it's a very diverse country, and a lot of people say, well, we got enough diversity within the country. And that's true too. You do have a lot of diversity in the United States. However, it's different from going outside to a country that you don't speak the language and you have to, move from there. Again, for those of you, let's see. Oh, I got a lot of people in the comments. Let me go to the comments. Thank you. J Star Triple McBangs is here. Are you in Thailand? Yes, I am in Thailand right now. Mexico is boring. It's just for resort. Okay. Thank you for McBangs. If you have any questions or comments to the people who wrote in the comments, please do so, because that's how the community works. You kind of share and give ideas. Of course, be nice, everyone. Don't be too overly critical. But yeah, please make your comments. So, getting back to what I was saying, last thing about in the United States, a lot of people travel within the United States and they travel to like different states. I'm going to give you an example, like for Hawaii, for example. Most people in Hawaii would like to travel to Las Vegas. There's some big, strong connection. They call it the eighth island of Hawaii. They call it Las Vegas because so many people go, right? And I've gone with my father several times, 15 times in the last 10 years. And going to Las Vegas is like a trip. It's traveling. It's going to another state. But if you stay downtown, like in the California Hotel in Las Vegas, where you can eat Hawaiian food from Hawaii, you can see Hawaii people who are working there, you can see Hawaii people who are all on the tour with you or other tourists that come there, then there's not much difference, right? It's like the Japanese who come to Waikiki in Honolulu, Hawaii, and they stay only in Waikiki and they eat Japanese food, washoku, and they speak Japanese because a lot of people in Waikiki speak Japanese. They are getting an experience, but a very mild version, right? So the idea is for like these Hawaii people who go to Las Vegas or Japanese who stay in Waikiki, is that's great. And if that's all you want comfort, no stress, you're insulated and you're protected, then that's fine. Continue doing that. That's great. But if you want something more, and if you want something that helps you to grow, you have to leave your comfort zone. And I think nobody wants to be uncomfortable, but unless you do that, that's the only way that you grow, you learn, and you become, I think you have a better experience only by going through some struggle. Now, you don't want too much struggle and you don't want too much hardship, because then it's not fun at all. But I think you need to have some as you travel abroad, because that's part of the war stories or the old football stories that you have, right? That you went through this. If everything was happy and yay, 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 oh, this is wonderful, this is beautiful. When you go home and you tell your friend, it's not a memorable story really, right? But if you tell them, oh yeah, I went and I got lost and then someone helped me and then, I thought I was, it was taking me to some strange place, but it actually was the police, oh, whatever, whatever story you have, those are the stories that stay with you forever, and you've learned something and you appreciate something, and you appreciate whether it's that, oh, I'm glad that America is, so helpful or safe or whatever, if you want to say that. But, those are the stories that you remember. And so again, too much uncertainty and too much stress is not good. But I believe that you have to leave your comfort zone. And that's why I suggest going to a country where you don't speak the language and you start from zero. And I also believe the longer the better. Now, most people cannot do this for a long, like in the United States, you get 2 weeks usually, right? And if you have your own business, maybe 1 week is already. So a lot of people are thinking, wow, if I want to travel overseas to Asia or to Europe, that's like 2 days just traveling, right? And then you got maybe another 2 days or 3 days of jet lag that you don't feel good. So that's 5 days, let's say. And you got 14 days and you take off five. That's like a little over a week, 9 days maybe. And then you feel like, wow, I don't get to see much. And then you're on this kind of like go, 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 go. And then you come back, you're exhausted. And then you need a vacation from the vacation, right? Whereas like in Europe, they get what, 4 to 5 weeks. So they can really kind of, experience a country. I know it's difficult, but my suggestion to those who can is if you can study abroad for a semester, a year, hopefully, or if you're in the middle of your life and then you can take a break and you have financial means for a while and you want to go for like, do what I do. I'm sorry. You can come for a month to Thailand, study Thai, or do something like this. Go to Japan. As I said before in my previous live streams, Japan is one of the best places to start as the first country entry because it's safe, it's clean, it's, although you still struggle with the language, you have enough hardship there, but yet you have enough comforts and convenience and security that you will not worry. So Japan is a good country if you've never traveled abroad or you haven't traveled abroad to a country and stayed a longer period and different from tours, then I would suggest Japan as a country that you may want to be as your first place that you go for a longer period of time. You could do it between your jobs. You could do it after you retired. A lot of people, like here in Chiang Mai, I met a lot of people, the expats, they're retired. It's a much cheaper country. They like Thailand. The couple that I study in my Thai class, he's from Texas and she's from Missouri, I think it is. And, they're a little bit older than I am. And they came 5 years ago. And if I just talk to them, just the way they think and they move, I would have thought that they wouldn't fit in Thailand, that it would be too hard. They're too American in a way. That's not a good example, but the way they move and think. But they love it here. So who knows, right? You could look at someone like, oh, they won't fit in, but they love it here. I have my other friend from Hong Kong who I just saw 2 days ago from pickleball, William. And William is a worrier, and he worries about a lot of things, and he likes things just so. I would think that he should live in Japan, not Thailand, but he loves Thailand, Chiang Mai specifically. So it's hard to say. So I guess unless you try and error, unless you try, you won't know. So even someone who you think wouldn't fit could, and a lot of them do fit, right? Let me go to the comments a second. Is there anything you folks want to say? Mexico. I love Thailand. Okay, great. I've been there 3 times. I'm like, thanks for the suggestion. IKA J Star. We can't anyone lives lives or talk to anyone. It isn't. We don't come in. I don't understand that, J Star. Thanks for the suggestion. We can't at anyone in YouTube, or we would like to talk to one. Oh, I see. You can only talk to the community. You can't talk to anyone specifically. I think that's what you mean, right? Okay, I'm sorry if that doesn't work out. Like I think TikTok and things, you can talk directly to people. So, okay, so sorry that's not possible. So getting back to what I was saying is that, so like what are the benefits? Please in the comments, right? What are the benefits of traveling abroad to a country that you do not speak the language? Like, of course, it's the normal things like food, drinks, exotic tastes, new tastes that you've never had before, personal growth. You can make friends, lifetime friends. Maybe you find a husband or wife or boyfriend or girlfriend. And I believe it could be one of the most rewarding experiences of your life. Of course, raising children, a family is probably the most important. But after that, this could be one of the most exciting and rewarding experiences of your life. It's not easy. And I think that's part of the formula. Because it's not easy and because you struggle and you get through it, it creates a sense of confidence. And the more you do, the more confident you get. And the more confident you get, the better you feel about life and yourself, right? So you tend to grow and personally develop when you are traveling or living abroad. And when I say living abroad, it could be working abroad, it could be studying abroad. I believe that the best is to be in a country as long as you can stay. Like a lot of these expats, like the couple I just talked about, has been here for 5 years. William from Hong Kong has been here for 3 years. I'm here only for 3 weeks, but right now, up until now. But again, so people are doing it. And again, it goes to cost. If you don't have the financial means, then you cannot do this. But sometimes there are other ways. You could volunteer, like Japanese have JICA. America has the Peace Corps. The Peace Corps doesn't have any age limitations. I know my friend's mom, after she retired from the University of Hawaii, she came, I think it was to Thailand actually, to do a 2-year Peace Corps volunteer program. There are other ways that sometimes churches bring people in to volunteer. So there are other ways, internships that are possible, not always easy. Of course, if you have a family and you have a business and you have things going, then it's probably not possible. But at least keep that door open that maybe someday something will happen and you have the opportunity to, yeah, I want to go, And a big thing that I do want to say is that the reason that traveling abroad outside of your home country is that it teaches you empathy. And I think that's probably the biggest point too. I think the two biggest points are self-awareness and empathy. Empathy to understand because you've walked in another person's shoes in a sense that by going to the struggle, when you see people coming to your country and they need help or they're having problems, where they are because you've been there and you're able to give back or maybe to offer to help them out. Same idea. And it makes people more conscious of others, so empathy and also self-awareness. I think the big thing about self-awareness is that it teaches you who you really are, especially if you're traveling alone. So there's various forms of travel, right? You can travel with a tour, you can travel with a group, you can travel in threes and fours, you can travel as a couple, or you can travel solo, or you can come on programs like study abroad or where it's a group again. If you can travel alone, I think it's one of the most powerful experiences because it makes you completely self-dependent on yourself and all your decisions are just yours. When you travel the first time, probably traveling alone is not good or not the best way. Maybe travel with a group or maybe travel with a friends or travel in a couple. But I think that traveling alone is the best, but the most difficult because it's all on you. You got to watch your bags, you got to be moving, you got to make the decisions. Whereas you have a friend or you have a partner, you can sound things off. Well, what do you think? Or what do you want to eat? Or where do you think you want to do? Do you think that's a good price? You have someone to bounce things off. Whereas if you travel alone, it's all on you. But that also forces you to really put the antennas up and put the radar out because you're scanning everything because you're trying to figure out things as you go along. Which bus to catch? I'm at the bus station. Which bus? Where do I wait? How do I do? Where do I pay? All of those things. And it can be stressful. That's why I suggest at the beginning, if you can, probably going with friends or going in a small group. Now, small groups also are difficult too, right? Especially if you're Westerners. Everybody has something that they want to do. So sometimes you don't actually get to do what you want to do because you got to go with the group. That's the downside of small groups. Couples are great, but I would say that traveling as a girlfriend, boyfriend, or a husband, wife, or spouse, can be really, really challenging if you have not traveled together before for long periods of time. And the reason I say this is I used to tell my students when I used to teach at the university, when they have girlfriends and boyfriends, right? They're college age, especially at University of Alaska when I was teaching in Fairbanks. I would say to them before they came to Japan, and I would say, if you folks want to do a great test, if your boyfriend or your girlfriend is the person for you, please travel for a long period of time, preferably at least a month, to a country that you do not speak, you both don't speak the language, and that you have to depend on each other. And there's no set schedule. There's not a tour. It's just that you're going to backpack basically and go place to place and then find your lodging and food and restaurant as you go along. And because I said when you travel together, it's like take off the boxing gloves, right? You get the good, the bad, and the ugly because it's stressful when you're traveling with someone and oh, what do you think? Oh, you want to stay here? And at the first week or two, everyone's nice, right? You kind of like you can gloss it over, so you can get by a week, maybe even 2 weeks. But after that, the boxing gloves come off, and that's when you find out if you can really get along with this person and if you can survive. Like when I was traveling before, I met people who were on the road traveling together, Europeans mainly, 1 year, one was 3 years traveling. And then I figured, wow, they know each other, I mean, together as a couple. I said, wow, they knew each other very, very well. So in that case, I tell my students, then that's the person you should marry or spend the rest of your life with, because travel is such a, it brings out everything when you travel in a couple. And that's another reason that you may prefer to travel alone, because sometimes traveling with someone, a good friend, you know what they say, right? Don't room with your best friend. I think travel is also in that category too. Traveling with your best friend for a long period of time can actually have the reverse impact where in the end you end up fighting or not speaking to each other. So I have experienced it before. I've traveled before with other friends, female friends, not in any intimate relationship or anything, but in the end, it ended up with we kind of went our own ways because it became just too hard, right? So even if I think, oh, I'm really easy to travel with, or I'm really flexible, but until you actually are in a traveling relationship with just one-on-one with someone else, it's a very, very good test of who you are. But anyway, self-awareness. Getting back to some of the comments here. Thanks for the suggestion. Okay. Quietly wandering, escaping the daily routine that exists in your own comfort zone. Yeah, that's one of the reasons that you may want to leave. A quote I love is, don't tell me how educated you are. Tell me how much you have traveled. Yeah. I agree as far as I think travel is the best educator of anything, any class, any book, anything, because you're getting it like in real time, live. And you know what also is interesting is that I learn from the people who I meet on the road. Like at the pickleball court, there's a lot of expats from different countries. And as we wait for our turn to play pickleball, I talk to different ones, different people. And they all have a story. Each one is different. This guy's from Germany, he retired. This guy's from Hong Kong. He did this and now he's retired. And a lot of them are retired. But there was one gentleman I met, and this is a possibility for some of you who are younger, who still want to have the experience. He was from the UK. He teaches English online, and he's able to work, I think he said 25 hours a week online and make enough money. And it's a company. The company is, he said, I think it was based in Taiwan. So he actually had lived in Taiwan for several years, I think 10 years. And then he left, and he kept a good relationship with that company. So he then now teaches for them online. So he's able to live as he travels around Asia by working online as an English teacher. So that's another possibility. And here in Chiang Mai, this is like the digital global nomad center, I think, of Asia, maybe even the world, that a lot of digital nomads come here because they love Chiang Mai, they love the cooler temperatures, it's the vibe, and so you have a lot of those people who actually relocate here. There is the smoky season here that starts in February through, I think it's through almost April, May, that you don't want to be here, and there's a rainy season after that. But mainly people come, they stay here, and they may travel out during the smoky season time. So anyway, my point is that you could actually travel and work. But again, if you have children or a family, that's not really possible unless you have a really high-paid job that will pay you as to work remotely. But the internet has changed everything. When we first were traveling around Thailand 35 years ago, there was no internet, right? We had guidebooks, right? Lonely Planet. We were using Lonely Planet and going place to place. And so that was really when the stress was on. There was no GPS. There was no, making a reservation ahead of time or looking for places around here. It was hardcore analog. And when I look back, I go, wow, that was hard. And so these days, it's much easier. So, more power to you that it should make the transition into traveling abroad or traveling alone or traveling with a group that much easier. So, I highly suggest that with the technology today, it's really unbelievable. Sometimes I think like, wow, if we had that when 35 years ago, I wonder if I would have been able to go to a way more different places or have a different experience. We went through it like, we're limited, right? You're only limited by the guidebook. You don't know what's ahead. You're just day by day. I mean, that was good training too, I think. However, it was hard. We never knew if there was a room open or not. We had to keep knocking on doors and say, "Oh, do you have a room?" And they would say, "Oh, no, sorry, go to the next place." Or, "Can you tell us where there is an available room?" And sometimes it's like 5 o'clock in the afternoon and you don't have a place to stay. Like, we're in Indonesia, I remember that time, and you start to worry, right? At that time I was traveling with my friends, so it wasn't, at least you have two. If you're alone, it's stressful, right? So internet has given you the opportunity now to do, I would say, make it, I don't want to say easy, but it's made it 10 times easier than when we were traveling by the Lonely Planet guidebook. So kudos to all of you. Get out there and see the world. Let me see. Are there anything else? Is there anything else? Okay, any other comments? Okay, so getting back to what I was saying is basically, I talk about soft skills a lot, right? That's what I used to teach at the university, on the Ship for World Use. It was about soft skills, right? Independence, critical thinking, problem solving, time management, working in a group. Anyway, the majority of soft skills are the skills that you can actually learn or acquire or at least experience when you are traveling abroad, because all those soft skills are needed when you are, the critical thinking, the problem solving, like being assertive. All of those things happen when you are traveling abroad because the radar is up. You have to ask questions. You have to, if you're not assertive, no one's helping you, right? If you need to know what bus to catch or where do I stand, where do I line up, what kind of food is this, can I eat this, can I not eat this, whatever you did, where's the toilet, the most important question, right? How to say that in another language just so Hong Nam you Tinai Krap or something, like that's the first sentence I learned when I came to Thailand because some of those that's the most important thing. But all those things, so the soft skills definitely are what you acquire when you are traveling abroad. And I think the longer you go and the less restricted, meaning like if it's a tour and you are taken around and protected and insulated, that's fine, no stress. But if you want to challenge yourself a bit, go without a tour, set up your own trip and figure it out. Because with the internet today, you can set up your plan, you can make your own itinerary. It's not that difficult compared to the Lonely Planet. So there's so much you can do. But again, any level, from tour all the way to solo travel, whatever you want to do is great as long as you are trying to get out there. And then once you go, I think once you taste the travel bug, most people, once they get bit, they want to go back. And then when they go back, they'll change. So they went from tour, then they'll go to friends, maybe then they'll go to partner or solo travel. They tend to be able to feel, because that comes with confidence, right? The more you travel, the more confident you feel. The more confident you are, the more you want to travel. It's like it kind of generates its own energy. And another thing I want to say is that traveling to a country that you don't speak the language teaches you humility, because you're starting from zero and you go like, wow, I don't know anything and I don't know where anything is and I'm completely vulnerable only to people who speak English, and that's limited, right? So, I feel fortunate that I can speak English because that has allowed me, at least some people understand English, but again, you're limited, right? So again, humility, a very important thing that by traveling abroad, empathy, humility are also learned. And and one really big thing that I think that, especially for young people, is that making friends. whether it's the people, the local culture, or maybe other travelers, or maybe other expats, you make a lot of new friends, by just getting out there. You make a lot of new friends just by, you know. Now, if you just sit like a wallflower in your room, nothing's going to happen. You have to be assertive. You have to go out and take risk. Now, you want to take calculated risk, not crazy, stupid risk, right? So you take risks that you go out there. And sometimes, like, I'm really tired. Like 2 nights ago, I was tired. I was seeing the festival things and trying to take video and, you know, try to see everything. I remember I went out, it was 9 o'clock, 9 p.m. on Saturday. I was coming back on the bicycle. Another problem is, there's stress with the bicycle for me, right? I'm riding the bicycle here in Chiang Mai. It's dark. Like I said, the only people riding bicycles in Chiang Mai are foreigners, and I'm one, and I see very few. At night, I'm the only one out there in a bicycle. But I got to get back, right? So 9 o'clock, I'm coming home, and then I know that they're going to do like the float. They have 29 floats for the final peak of the Kratong Festival here in Chiang Mai. And they're going to end at the city, Chiang Mai Municipal Building. And it's going to end at midnight. And I thought to myself, oh man, I'm tired. I want to go home. But I decided, you got to go and take the risk. It's like an extra place. I got to park the bike. It's super packed. It's like, oh, where am I gonna put the bike? I still gotta come home 40 minutes on the bicycle in the dark, right? But I went. And of course, I'm thankful that I did it. But, just sometimes you just feel like, oh, I'm tired. So sometimes it takes that extra, that not only risk taking, but that motivating yourself that I just gotta go. And once you get there, it's fine. I took nice video. I saw the floats. They were beautiful. The problem was it took so long for each float to come because everyone had to do like a dance for the stand, for the judges and things. And so you got like 15 to 20 minutes, and then the next one 15 to 20 minutes. The waiting was the problem, but the floats are beautiful. So yes, I'm glad I went. But it took an extra ounce of motivation for me to go, especially after a long day of pickleball and this and this and this. I did a few things. So my point again is that it's not easy, but I really believe that by traveling abroad, not only attaining, but using a lot of the skills that you already have. You probably have the idea of being a flexible person. How flexible are you? Well, traveling abroad really finds out how flexible are you. How adaptable are you? All of those things are tested when you travel abroad. And I think another most important thing is you have to have a sense of humor. You have to be able to laugh at yourself. I laugh at myself every day. I laugh with Noi because I try to speak to her in Thai, and she speaks to me in Thai, and I don't know what she's saying, and in the end I just laugh and she laughs, and but there's kind of bonding that goes on there, right? I think by taking risk and trying to speak Thai, even though nobody knows what I'm saying, I'm vulnerable, but I am showing humility to them. So people are more apt to help you out because they see you, in a vulnerable position. Oh, Mike, he's trying. We don't know what he's saying, but he's trying to speak Thai, or they're thinking, I think it's Thai, but he's trying to say something. And so it's really, really, it's a bonding thing. Even the process itself allows me to bond with the people, and I find out that by being vulnerable and showing people who I really am, like, I don't know anything, teach me, or I don't know anything, help me, that 99% of the time people are open to helping you out. And they may laugh at you or with you, but you just take it all in stride. It's not humiliating. It's kind of part of the whole process, the whole journey. So that's why I really think that traveling abroad is great. Okay, thank you, J Star. Any other comment? Okay, so what are the fears? So when you think about it, what are the fears? Why don't people want to travel? Well, there's so many, but I think the main ones are unknown, uncertain what lies ahead, leaving your comfort zone, the loss of control, right? When you're in an environment in a country that you don't speak the language and you're not on a tour and you don't have a bodyguard or someone who's a local person with you, you are vulnerable and you're out of your comfort zone. You don't have control. So I think the three main things are lack of understanding, people don't understand you. Fear, people are just afraid, fear of all kinds of things, right? And of course, finances. Finances is the big one. If you don't have the finances, you can't go. But I'm going to put that on the side now. I'm talking to people who probably have the finances or have a way of generating income when they go. You know, things like long term, like for study abroad, it's like getting homesick. You know, a lot of people get homesick. They worry about missing their child or their parent or their daughter or son or their dog or their cat. In fact, I know for a lot of expats who have families, the biggest, they love it here in Chiang Mai or Thailand. The biggest thing, what do you say? The biggest, for them, the biggest thing to deal with is the missing of their family, or they're missing, especially of grandchildren. A lot of these people are older, they miss their grandchildren. And so that is the only thing that you cannot put together. Living abroad and having your family with you. I mean, if your grandkids with you are not really possible. So like the lady I know, she goes back twice a year to see the family and then come back. And the family is still young and so they can't fly here regularly, so they don't get to see them that often. And that seems to be the biggest thing that affects people who have families, is that when they leave the country, that they feel a little bit, not lonely, but they feel they miss their family. That's it. So if the family thing is too high and compared to the experience of being abroad, then yes, definitely you need to stay at home, with your family, I would say. But if it's here or here, then I would say go for it. At least do it a year and then see how it works out. Because you can only go as long as you're healthy, right? As you get older, and let's say you're a grandparent, you may not have the opportunity if you're physically unable to go, or mentally, if you have any illness, you won't be able to go. So the chances are now. So for those of you who have retired or are retired, are thinking like, yeah, I want to see what it's like, go while you can, because sometimes next time doesn't come. I always talk about the story about my grandfather, my dad, my mom's dad, Grandpa Hamasaki Isamu. He saved all his life. He worked at the 7-Up soda water company in Kalihi in Hawaii. That's small company. And him and my grandmother, they just saved money all the way. And the hope was that one day they would go and travel. And so they all said, oh yeah, okay, when I retire. And he kept working, 65, 70. I forgot what age he retired. I think it was 73 or something. Everybody was worried that he kept going, like he had to go down at 5 a.m. down to Kalihi to open up and start the boiler or something. And everyone was worried about him. But everyone said, no, Grandpa, just retire and now you can travel. You wanted to go to Las Vegas, you wanted to go to Japan, etc. He kept talking about. And then he retired finally. And then when they said, okay, Grandpa, now you can go and travel. Oh, next time. I'm still too tired. He was like too tired. And then every time we'd bring it up, he'd say, next time. And then my grandma was, either way, it didn't really matter to her. But, well, in the end, grandma died before the next time. And then grandpa got cancer and he eventually passed away also. I guess the moral of this story is that there was no next time. And sometimes next time doesn't come. So if you keep saying next time, remember that sometimes next time doesn't come. So if you have the opportunity, you have the finances, you have the time, my suggestion, go. I don't think you'll regret it. And think about this too. If you go and you regret it, you go, oh, Mike told me to go and I went, and I hated whatever, wherever you went. I didn't like it. I didn't like Thailand. Let's say you come to Thailand. I didn't like Thailand. Mike told me to go. I believe you go back to wherever you are, let's say America, and you say, oh yeah, I shouldn't have gone. I regret going. Mike told me to go. I shouldn't have gone. That regret is still better than if you didn't go And for the rest of your life, you always wonder, I wonder what would have happened. I wonder how that would have changed my life. I wonder what experiences I would have had. I wonder how I would be different now. Because you would be. A travel abroad experience for a long term is going to be life changing. It will affect you. No matter, you cannot not be affected, put it that way, unless you lived in a bubble. So I believe that that regret, the level of regret. So going and regretting is still better than not going and always wondering and having that hang over your head for the rest of your life until you die. That, wow, if I had gone, how would I have been different? Or how would life be different? So that's my own personal take on it. Okay, and also other things that people worry about is that people worry, of course, the big one is people getting scammed or robbed. And you always have to worry about this. Even in America, as an American, you have to be worried about scams and things. But yes, and in Thailand, you come off the plane and like Bangkok, and you see all these people around. And I remember when I first came to Bangkok 35 years ago, it was different. It wasn't as modern. And there were people like standing like almost like a, what do you call, like a gauntlet on the sides. And they were like yelling names like, yeah, 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 and text. And you come off and you go like, you feel shocked if you come in alone or you're traveling because people are just yelling. And if you don't have someone to pick you up, and I'm supposed to catch the bus into Bangkok, it's scary. And of course you worry. You don't know who's going to rob you. And all your antennas are up, but you still feel like scared. So yes, there is always that part of it too. Today, it's very modern. It's much simpler. So much YouTube videos. There was no YouTube 35 years ago, of course. So we didn't know where to catch a taxi, how to catch a taxi, where to sign over a taxi, like at Sumamampu, the Bangkok airport. But now you have those things, so it's much easier. But still, you worry about being scammed or robbed. And every time I go to the market, for example, I was telling you, like, I made some videos that I'll upload eventually about the food that I eat from the market. And normally it's 20 baht or 30 baht. Well, I go to this lady and she says, oh, 25 baht. And I go, oh, that's strange. And then I'm thinking, I think this was 20 baht yesterday. I'm thinking, right? And so I think she's scamming me, right? I mean, that's the first thing we think. Oh, I think she's charging me more. Now, we're at a local market, right, where very few tourists go. So I thought, nobody would scam me. I mean, like anybody, because it's mainly locals. If anybody, it'd be a tourist place, it's not a tourist trap. So I go in, so yesterday I go in again, same lady's there. I decide, okay, I'm going to see. And no one's there. It's Sunday, it's not that crowded. And I ask her in Thai, I say, oh, Tao Dai. And she says, oh, 20 ha, 25 baht. And then I realized that is the price that she charges everybody. And that, because after I heard her charge somebody else, and then I realized, oh no, that was her price. I thought that she was charging me more, 5 baht more, which is nothing, right? But 5 baht more. And you feel this sense of like, oh yeah, I got scammed, or she charged me more. She wasn't. And so my whole thing here is like 90% of the time, they're not charging you more. It's me overthinking, or maybe they charge you more because it's a certain kind of soup base that we don't know that information because they cannot explain it, or it's not on the sign or the menu. There's always, so I try to be more open-minded and think like when the price is a little higher that, oh, okay. But again, no matter what, I'm human, right? You still think like, oh, I'm getting charged extra or whatever, right? That's the first reaction you have. So yes, people being scammed or robbed is the reason. People getting hurt, you worry about getting hurt. You worry about like a motorbike accident in Thailand. I talked about it in my live stream where 75% of the fatalities of traffic accidents, and there are 20,000 a year in Thailand, 75% are from motorbikes, and 1,000 of those people, basically 2.8 tourists die every day. Well, there is that fear that you should be well aware of. And again, if that's too much for you to deal with, then yes, then you cannot come. But if you just be careful and maybe don't rent a motorbike, or make sure you have a helmet and you drive very defensively, anything can happen, but anything could happen in your home country also. So it's really hard to say. Another one is that you could get sick, food poisoning, dengue fever, malaria, all these things. So yes, you could think, physical safety and security and health are the most, I think, the biggest fears for people. But again, if you look at look at it logically, yes, it's a developing country, and yes, maybe not as clean as America, not as clean as Japan. Nobody beats Japan, but good medical care, yes, they have in here in Chiang Mai or in Thailand, in Bangkok. So you have to weigh it and you have to decide what is your priority. And if it's safety and health and it's like this, then no, you cannot come or don't come. But if you feel like it's even or maybe like this, that then I believe you still can at least try. And then if it doesn't work out, you can always go home. Okay, let's see. I'm going to the comments here. Yeah, Irasima, has anyone really visited somewhere that they didn't like? I actually have enjoyed every country I visit. Okay, Irasima 1. What he says is really interesting. Most of the time, 99% of the time, I believe, when people visit somewhere, they almost always like, especially if your attitude is a positive one and you're open-minded, right? That people like. Maybe not, maybe you don't like a country as much as one country, but you like every country for whatever. They have good things and bad things, right? I mean, even in Asia here, a lot of times I'm comparing Vietnam, Malaysia, uh, Korea, Japan, like which is the better. You can't really, it's like apples and oranges. You can't really say one is better, but you can compare cleanliness or safety or yen to baht exchange rate or something. You can compare those facts, but other things you can't. So yes, I think what he's saying is true. I believe if you go with an open mind to any country, you will see the good in it and you will like it. You may not like it as much as the last country or the one that you went to 10 years ago or how it was 10 years ago. For example, I went to Burma, Myanmar in 1994, I think it was. That was the year of the tourists, and I wanted to go before. So my friend and I, she and I went to Myanmar for the before they opened up to Year of the Tourist because we wanted to see Myanmar how it really was. And now when I went, what 4 years ago, I could see completely different. And of course, I like that Myanmar because it was the real old Myanmar. But I still like both of them, and I like Myanmar in general. So again, you're gonna compare naturally, but yes, I think that's great. Let's see. Quietly Wandering said, arriving into Phnom Penh by bus van was an experience. Our best times after traveling are about talking about our experiences, both good or bad. Yes, and I think a lot of times the bad experiences are more of the war stories than the good, right? Because everybody go, oh yeah, it was great, it was wonderful, it was beautiful. But if you tell the story like, oh yeah, we got to the bus station and we didn't know where we were going and people were yelling at us and we got overcharged, that's the stories that people are interesting, right? And it's interesting to tell. So yes, thank you, Quietly Wandering. Um, we rarely have great discussions about the day we traveled into work and had lunch at the cafeteria. We need something different to make a great conversation. Yes, and that's why having changes, and I mean, like environment, it doesn't have to be another country, but I use travel abroad as the best example because it's so powerful and it's all in a package. You'll get everything in one package. The hard and the soft and the great and the struggles and like the soft skills, the independent thinking, the open-mindedness, the empathy, the awareness, the self-awareness, all of that in one package on a travel abroad trip. And think about it. We don't have that much time, right, as we get older, right? Because time is the only thing that we don't have. So if you want to go, I guess my suggestion is don't be like my grandpa, Hamasaki. If you have the finances and you have the time and you can go, even for a short term. Of course, as I said before, the longer the better. If you can go for a month or longer, that's great. And if you can't, 2 weeks is great. I know a lot of times it's systems, like vacation systems. Like in America, normally you get 2 weeks. And as I said before earlier in this live stream, if you travel one day, that's 2 days. And then some people travel, it takes 3 days to get there. And then it's like 3 days of jet lag. And that's half your trip is already jet lag and travel. And people are going to say, why should I go there? And I get only 5 or 6 days and I got to come back again and go through the same process of jet lag and waiting at airport. So there is that to it. So how can you get longer vacations? I don't know, but take for example Japan. the Japanese, almost all of them, will never be able to take a longer vacation than 1 week. 1 week. Now, if they connect that 1 week with like a golden week, like the national holidays or the summer obon, maybe they can get to 2 weeks. But their own personal vacation that they are given between 12 to 20 days, they cannot take in one block usually. It's never written because the law is you can take what you want. It's the unspoken, it's the unwritten rule within all these companies. Taking like 3 days, that's like huge. Imagine taking 5 days so you can get 2 weekends. And a lot of companies work Saturdays too. So that's like a 6 day, right? So Japanese cannot take long vacations. So you will never really get to see most Japanese be able to experience that. And that's why the country is even more isolated in a way. The people are not able to go out to experience and bring that back because they can't go for more than a week. And if you're going to go for a week, then you're going to do a tour, right? Because a tour is quick. You just, everything's set. Bang, 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 bang. You can do all the checklists. Dun, 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 dun. So I feel really sad for the Japanese. And I feel sad for the Americans compared to the Europeans who can take a month off, 5 weeks off and things, or longer vacations. So it's systems too that restrict their citizens from being able to take enough long vacation to do what I'm suggesting. Longer travel abroad trips. The longer, the better. But anything is better than nothing, of course, if you can get there. So anyway, that's my take on it. I hear someone say, I did not enjoy Dubai. I love Japan. Okay, thank you, Gauri. J-Star. Okay, thank you, J-Star. So anyway, the major reasons people don't go, as I had said, is physical safety and security and health. And if you can deal with those, even, or if you have like health issues yourself, even things like, for example, as I get older, right? I don't know if you can see back there, I have like a CPAP mask. Like I have to carry a CPAP machine around with me and wear a CPAP mask, and that's kind of a hassle. But I still believe you can do it. You buy a smaller one, travel one if you can. This is not the travel one, but and so you try to work within your means as you get older, because as you get older, if you retire or semi-retire like me, you will have more time and hopefully some financial assets or facilities, financial means that you can go. That then you have to deal with health issues, right? Like CPAP or this or that, or high blood pressure and medication and this. So you just have to be more thorough in figuring out how do I still go within my health limitations. And it's still possible, I believe, unless it's something really severe or something very serious, then you can't. So anyway, that's what I want to say. I think that's the main thing I wanted to say. The last thing I did wanted to talk about was a lot of it is choices. I believe life is about choices. So you are where you are now because of the choices you made in the past. And I believe maybe 30-40% in life are not choices. They're decided for us, and we don't have a choice. But the other 50 to 60% is our own choices. So we are where we are because of our choices. But also in our future, it's about what we decide to choose. We make the choices. Yes, we need financial means, but again, it's up to us to decide if we really want to go, and if we really want to go, how we're going to make that happen. So life is about choices, and I really stand on that. Not everyone agrees with me, but I really believe that life is about choices. And cost, you're going to have to work, we're going to work around that, as I said. But again, the internet has added a whole new dimension. The internet has made it so much easier to travel, to book things, to feel more secure, to have GPS, to call Grab, to call Uber. It's amazing. I am just like dumbfounded in a way. And I think like, wow, how did we do it with just a map and the Lonely Planet guide, And that's why we got lost all the time 35 years ago. That's why it took so much time. Everything took so much time. We probably took 3 to 5 times more time just getting to a place because we didn't know how to get there and we didn't have the information except a map or a Lonely Planet book, right? Now you have GPS, you have all different modes of transportation, how to get there. Anyway, I keep telling you about that old war story. Sorry about that. So the last thing I want to say is that I guess the word is transformational experience. Traveling abroad outside of your home country, especially to a country that you don't speak the language, is a big struggle, very challenging, but it can be a transformational experience for many or most. That it will change the way you think, the way you look at things, the way you think of yourself, self awareness, all of that in one package. Where can you get all of those opportunities and chances to deal with all of these struggles, challenges, um, making friends, good times, having fun, drinking, whatever, all of those in one package. Only on traveling outside of traveling abroad, outside of a country that you don't speak the language, I believe. So thank you, J Star. And Quietly Wandering says, and we had great things to go with the process of getting it. Right. Remember, as Lao Tzu, the famous Taoist monk, said, it's not the destination, it's the journey. So even getting to where you're going through the transportation, like Quietly Learning was saying about coming off the bus, I think it was in Phnom Penh, Cambodia, all of that is part of the journey. Getting there is not everything. It's only like a 50% maybe. But the other 50% is getting there. And even now, to make a plan of how to get there, how to save money, when can I go? That's also part of the process. And I think that's also important too. So think of it. You can get the one-stop shopping or one-stop package if you make a plan and decide to, and have the financial means, I do want to say financial means, and want to go or are curious enough that you want to try and go. Okay? You can go. So anyway, this is Mike here in Chiang Mai. I have another week here. I have Thai lessons this week until Wednesday, and then I take off, and I'm going to go to Chiang Rai to see the blue and the white temple, I think it is. And then I'm off to Phuket and Bangkok and then back to Japan. So this complete trip for me is not that long. I wish it was longer, but I have to go back to Honolulu for my Japanese driver's license. That was a whole other thing. But this trip is about 6 weeks, and I feel like it's so short. And I feel like every day is passed so quickly. Like every day I say, oh no, it's only like I only have that much time. You know what they say, right, with time? For those who wait, time gets long. But for those who fear or, my fear is that it's going too fast, that time goes even quicker. That's what I'm feeling now. As I get closer and closer to my end here in Chiang Mai, it's like, I can't believe it. I'm leaving this Saturday to the next destination. And I'm going, wow, I feel like I just came. And even my Thai language is just starting to, I wouldn't say I can speak, but I can at least know how the sentence is structured. And, and I know numbers. And I know maybe now 10 sentences instead of 5. So I believe that if I were here for 3 months, studying Thai for 3 months at the school, that I think I would be at a small level, low level conversation level. So I think 3 months studying, because Thai is really a tough language for English speakers. And as I said before, if you're Chinese and you know tones, you will have an advantage to learn it a little bit quicker than at least a Western speaker. So I want to thank all of you for joining me today. I'm sorry I went on this rant kind of thing, but I really believe that traveling, living, studying, and working abroad is a transformational experience that adds so much value to your life and to you and to your existence while you're on earth that it's immeasurable. You cannot even list all the pluses that you will get. And even though you have hard times and you have struggles and you have negative experiences, those actually give you lessons or teach you how to overcome those problems or issues that actually make you that much better. So in all, it's just an unbelievable transformational experience that is life-changing. And I hope those of you, I'm probably preaching to the choir because all of you, if you're still listening, then you probably are already doing that. But for those who have not or are curious or interested in doing, please take it short at the beginning. Maybe do a week, then maybe do a month, or but travel abroad and hopefully to a country that you don't speak the language, so you can experience what vulnerability is, what empathy can be like, what the kindness of people who don't speak your language can be. All of those, you know, please try. So here a beat start says internet makes organizing and orientation. Let's see. Let's see what easier. Put on my glasses. Sorry. Organizing and travel so much easier, but I missed the contact with people. I asked for help before I had Google. Okay, so there was a plus for that. That by doing the old style, the analog, you also met people and there was a different kind of interaction that was also positive. Thank you for that comment. And Idasima, one, being from the Bay Area, the joke is that when someone is abroad, if you meet another American, odds that they will be from here as well. San Franciscans are good travelers. Okay, so probably this live stream is not for people from San Francisco because all of you are world-traveled, world travelers as they call them, so great. And from Guy here, great video, agree with you, everything you say. Getting lost in Paris with my mom was quite a learning experience. Yeah, I bet. Paris was tough for me, because no one speaks English, not no one, they don't speak English. And anytime I ask someone, like one of the public officials, like the person working at the information booth, it was like they got mad. They were like mad, like you asked them a question, like, oh, and you spoke English, I heard that it was better to try to speak French, even if it was you butchered the language. That was better than than speaking English. I mean, that's the rumor I heard. I don't know if that's true, but yeah, Paris is tough. And if you're lost and you couldn't get around and nobody, like the public officials, it's like when you ask them, it's almost like they get mad or they look at you like, why are you asking me such a question? Or why are you speaking English? I don't know if that was only my experience, but yes, Guy, I had a tough time in Paris getting around too. But you just do what you can. Beautiful city, but customer service, unless you go to a very expensive French restaurant, wasn't that good for me. Yeah. And Beat Start, you are so right. Oh, well, thank you, Beat Start. Marcelo Smith says, getting lost while traveling is a great way to find yourself. Oh, that's a great quote, Marcelo. Getting lost while traveling is a great way to find yourself. That is beautiful. That is beautiful. That should be in the travel quotes. Yeah, sometimes getting lost is a way of like serendipity. Other things happen and you meet other people and different things happen. So I think the exciting part for me is that you never know what can happen. Everything's possible when you're like traveling and you get lost, other things happen, and things. So yes, I guess I'm high on traveling abroad because I probably am doing it right now. And so I'm living it. So I'm so excited about other people experiencing similar things to what I am or have been. And just the people I've met, the lady who runs a fruit stand, the laundry lady, the guest house owner here, the massage shop owner, his name is Cha, and he was talking to me yesterday about the pricing and how they do it. And I was asking him about how do people know if this is a regular massage shop or one that does other services like the happy end, and he was telling me, I'm learning so much, about because I'm curious, right? And I ask questions. The only problem is they have to be able to speak English. But now with the fruit lady, she doesn't, and we try to speak Thai, and she's so good to me. She tries to teach me Thai, and I cannot understand what she's saying, the accent. But I'm trying. That's why I need 3 months here. 1 week. Well, I only have 1 more week here, and I'm getting. That's the stress part. Like, oh, so quick. So anyway, thank you everybody. Thank you for joining me. I don't know when I'll do another live stream, but I had to do this one because I'm living it. I thought I want to get it out that I want everyone who is interested or curious to travel abroad to please go. As long as you got the financial means and you have the motivation and you want to do it, then please. I'll look forward to seeing you in the next live. Thanks again, everybody. Take care. Or as they say, kap kun krap. See you again. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for joining the comments and everything. Thank you very much.